Hello, everyone. My name is Kylie Galero. I am going to be talking about crocheting and how it is not only fun, but also good for you. First of all, crocheting is a hobby that I partake in. I make stuffed animals out of yarn, stuffing, and a crochet hook. I do this almost weekly because it is something that I really enjoy and it helps with my mental health and my hand dexterity. Did you know that crochet can help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's? According to Dish, cognitively stimulating activities such as crochet can help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's. Plus, according to Kyo, crochet and other fiber arts can help keep your fingers and hands nimble and improve your hand-eye coordination. My thesis: crochet can have several benefits, including help with your mental health and dexterity. Crochet is good for the mind. Someone in the world develops dementia every 3 seconds. There are over 55 million people worldwide living with dementia in 2020. This number will almost double every 20 years, reaching 78 million in 2030 and 139 million in 2050. And this is according to the Alzheimer's Disease International website, which is the main website for Alzheimer's disease. And it's mind boggling to me that knowing this statistic now, is, even when I worked as a dementia caregiver, I did not learn this type of statistic until I did this speech. Knitting and crocheting help build new neural pathways that help with memory and can reduce the cognitive decline that comes with age. In a 2011 study, researchers from the Mayo Clinic explored the mental activities of over 1,000 people aged 70 to 89 that did not have a history of cognitive decline. The study found that those who engaged in crafts like knitting and crocheting had a diminished chance of developing mild cognitive impairment and memory loss. The researchers speculated that craft activities promote the rewiring of the brain neural pathways that help maintain cognitive health, according to Dr. Rich. In my professional experience, I am a former certified dementia caregiver. I am actually currently still certified. However, I no longer caregive. I had once worked at a memory care facility. This photo here is of Clausen Manor in Waterford. I worked here along with and privately with other clients. Um, and I watched how some residents were able to still crochet or knit. Both are fiber arts and both are good for you. Um, but I watched patients crochet or knit with early onset dementia. It was amazing to see how they were able to remember the hand movements because it was considered a muscle memory at that point. However, they were not always able to remember their visitors, even if they were family. Being able to create something from memory is amazing. It was mesmerizing to watch the people at the memory care facility create something from memory, especially when it's failing them in other areas. Oftentimes, when I went to the facility, I would see someone crochet or knit, mostly crochet, um, and they would have half a scarf done or a portion of a blanket done. And it was amazing to see how, in other aspects, they couldn't remember other things, such as a lot of the time they would have a family member, such as a spouse, come and see them, and they couldn't remember who they were. And but they and it was just so amazing how they couldn't remember their family, but they could remember this particular task. However, what I learned from my caregiving days was that you tend to remember long-term memories. So if you learned how to crochet, for example, when you were a teenager or even younger, or possibly in your 20s, 30s, and so on, um, before the decline, your brain can mostly maintain that memory, especially when it comes to muscle memory. However, sometimes people can't remember their family. If you've only been married for a short while, you're less likely to remember your spouse. Um, that's why a lot of time when I saw patients at the care facility, they would call out for their parents, not realizing these are fully grown adults and they no longer have their parents. Their parents have long passed, so they no longer realize that, they are older. They think that technically they're a kid, or sometimes they think that they're teenagers, and that's just not the case. And it's really hard to watch. But when they were crocheting, it was just something that they could focus on, and it helped them maintain a focus on something positive and with something that meant a great deal to them. Secondly, crafting can help with mental health disorders. Did you know crocheting and knitting have been associated with reduced anxiety and depression, a positive sense of well being, and an outlet for creativity and producing a sense of purpose? Knitters and crocheters report benefits such as feeling calmer, happier, and more useful. Crochet has also been found to improve alerting and orienting attention networks in the brain, according to Dish. I personally have found this to be true. I have depression and anxiety, and it does give me a sense of purpose, and it really helps um, that creative itch that I always have. I'm a very creative person, so it's always really helped with that. Crochet can help improve your mood, depression, and stress. Craft activities like crocheting have a dopamine effect, which is your body's natural mood enhancer. Engaging in these activities can make you feel good and boost your self esteem. Studies have shown that more than 80% of participants with depression reported feeling happy after crocheting. Additionally, the sense of accomplishment from completing a project can significantly improve your mood and reduce feelings of anxiety, according to Keo. I definitely agree with this. And it's very relatable to me because I do feel happy and I feel a sense of accomplishment once I've completed a project. In my personal experience, furthermore, I personally crochet and it definitely helps improve my mood. I have severe anxiety, social anxiety, and depression. I tend to like to do things alone. My brother and I are 8 years apart. I feel this is important to mention because he and I have like that single child syndrome. So him and I were not super close until we got older, and we're a little closer now, but we've always been very comfortable doing things by ourselves, and I'm still that way to this day. But I am also very likely to do things by myself due to my social anxiety. However, I have noticed that when I crochet, I feel better, especially now that I have encouraged my cousin to try to crochet as well. So now we both crochet. My cousin has provided me with her personal reasoning as to why she feels crochet is helpful for her and her anxiety and depression. She has specified that while she is crocheting, she must redirect her focus onto her project instead of whatever mental dilemma she is currently dealing with. She explained that she has to focus on remembering the pattern, stitch count, as well as how to do the stitches. Do you have arthritis? This is my second point as to why um, crocheting can be very good for you. Your dexterity can be greatly improved when you crochet. According to Kyo, your dexterity can be maintained and even improved when you crochet. The repetitive and therapeutic nature of crochet can really help with dexterity, which can help with joints and muscles. Now, I should also mention that crocheting can also have negative effects of these things. If you do too much, you will have more pain. If you don't do it at all, you'll maintain your pain. However, if you exercise your hands, which is what I consider it to be, it'll help your hands become more nimble and flexible. Arthritis. As someone who has had arthritis since I was a teenager, when I picked up crochet in my mid 20s, I noticed that there was a great improvement in my fingers and how they were nimbler than before. I had a lot less pain since I was essentially exercising my hands. My hand-eye coordination has also greatly improved. I feel like I've always had pretty good coordination, but with having to crochet with thinner yarns, it has really helped me be able to focus my attention better. Plus, I'm able to see what I feel I would not have noticed before when completing other tasks. In conclusion, crochet and other crafts can help your mental health and your dexterity. I believe everyone should try it or something like it. Since crafting in general can be very helpful when it comes to your mood and muscles, I believe help improve your mental health and dexterity should be important, especially when you have mental illness in your family or your personal medical history. And my one final question for you. Would you like to create something while helping your mental health and dexterity? You'll be able to have a garment, plushie, or accessory out of it, just like Jack Black and Jason Momoa. Recently, I watched the Minecraft movie and I have been obsessed with the game since I was a teen. And I really like Jack Black and Jason Momoa, so I watched their interview with the people, I believe it was. And Jason Momoa is an avid crocheter. He did not make these cardigans in the picture. However, he has said that he does crochet. Um, and he does wear his own projects, which I think is amazing. And I think it's a really cool call to everyone to try to learn how to crochet. Um, the materials you'll need if I have persuaded you are yarn, a crochet hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a darning needle in order to weave in your ends. These are fairly affordable materials, so they will not break the bank, and you can try something new. Thanks. Have a good night.